Welcome back, everyone. This is Thomas Triple T Ty with another new bullish crypto analysis. Before we dig in and take a look at the Bitcoin weekly chart, remember this is for edutainment only and not to be considered as financial advice. Additionally, I would appreciate it if you could help spread my easy to understand analysis to help others, especially newbies or people who don't do analysis, to help them make more informed decisions. So with that, let's before I get started though, I'm in the process of revamping my analysis setup. So there will be days where I may not be able to do them as I revamp some of these setups. So you probably have noticed that in the last few days where my posting has been, my uploads have been pretty minimal. So be patient, and my regular schedule will come back, which is basically several uploads or analysis per day. All right, so let's dig in and take a look at the news for Bitcoin first, and then we'll take a look at the analysis. I need my mouse highlighter. Make sure the screen is shared. All right, we're good. According to Insider, make sure that's the right magazine here. Business Insider. According to Business Insider, Sam Bankman-Fried believes Bitcoin has no future as a payment network because its proof-of-work system means it can't scale up. But he also says that it has a future in as a store of value like gold. Proof of work, as many of you know, is a very slow system. And they can't do a lot of transactions per second. And finale could take some time too. However, the Lightning Network has shown that there's potential for it to be a layer 2. Put in a layer 2 on there. It could potentially make it work, in my opinion, like the Lightning Network. So I think it's I think it's doable. Is it the fastest? Probably not, but I think it's very doable. Of course, Sam is a big proponent of Solana, so maybe take that for what you will. President Nayib Bukele announced 44 countries to meet in El Salvador to discuss Bitcoin, and so we're looking at 32 central banks and 12 financial authorities. They're meeting in El Salvador. And but here's the thing. If you look at the countries and the central banks that are coming over for this meeting, if you look at their GDP, it's probably less than like a major city in the U.S. So, but I think it's still good progress for having an open forum to discuss, and perhaps they can learn from what El Salvador has been through and their experiences. So I think it's pretty cool, even though it's size-wise, as far as GDP, it's not that big. Here's the, it was about an hour ago. This was the heat map for the crypto market, BTC. This was mostly red earlier, and then it popped green in that period. BTC 30.2K roughly down, up 1.7. Dominance 44.36. Dominance here is still holding really strong here. Ethereum roughly 2K dominance, 2K, and that's up 1.86. Dominance 19.17. And Ethereum's dominance dropped a little bit. Everywhere else, mostly green here. So let's zoom in here. The market cap is up today 1.41% to $1.30 trillion. So moving up slowly. Here's Bitcoin market cap, $575.6 billion. Here's the weekly chart. So let's go through it. First of all, I don't maybe it's me, but at least on the Bitfinex chart, and it could be others too, Bitcoin printed 8 consecutive bearish descending weekly candles. I went back to all the way to 2013. I couldn't find anything like that. So potentially this could be a record, probably in Bitcoin's history, but I didn't go back beyond 2013. So very bearish trend here. What's interesting about this trend though is in the last 3 candles, including the current one, we have diminishing body sizes. What that means is that the sell momentum is decreasing. So that's good. And here we see that, let me make sure I cover everything on top here. And so in this current candle, Bitcoin at roughly 30K, it's entering back into the descending triangle marked by this these yellow dash lines here. So it went back in there. It was below in this below the triangle, and wicked as low as the descending wedge support this other yellow dash line here, and wicked all the way down there. And like I mentioned previously, wicked all the way down to 22. Actually, I made a mistake. I quoted the wrong number, but it actually on KuCoin wicked all the way down to 22.8K, which was one of my near my lowest target here at 20K. But on Bitfinex, it wicked all the way down to roughly around 26.2K, 26K, and pull back. So more than likely, it's going to hang around here. You can see that it's in the bearish zone still. It's below the bull market support band, this gray ribbon here. And that bull market support band, it has a range between these 2 points here, these 2 lines, of 39.3K and 40K. And the 50-day moving average, 50-week moving average is still below that. 50-week moving average is around 44.5K. What's interesting though, the gap between the current price and the 200-week moving average, the 200-week moving average is around 22K. The gap is narrowing because the 200-week moving average is ascending and pretty sharp, while the 50-week moving average is going pretty much sideways with a slight downtrend. So sooner or later, the price, the current price, will get closer and closer to the 200-week moving average. The nearest support zone, I would say, would be, it depends. I mean, you could say it's 30K of the triangle here, but it's just kind of bouncing on it. So I would say roughly around the support zone would be 29K, which is this thin green line here, right below the 30K, right there. And if you count the zone, it'll drop all the way down to roughly around 26.2K, 26K. So in this zone, that would be the support zone right here. The nearest resistance would be 32K, shared by here's the 32K up here, shared by the descending triangle support. Nope, that's not right. It's not descending triangle support at all. It's just 32K. $32K would be this reddish line up here, right above the 32K. 30K. So the volume profile for this range right here, this solid thin red line that goes all the way across, that's the highest volume range for this range, going back to roughly July of 2020. And where the price is now is just in this bar right here for the volume profile, which is just slightly above average. So nothing to write home about. The weekly volume, the current weekly volume is tiny. It's way below the moving average, but the week is still young. There's plenty of time. Unlike the previous week where we have one of the highest volumes since June 20, the week of June 21st, 2021. But again, per my previous thought, it's near like a capitulation type volume, but it's not quite it. So it's hard to make out what this is. So but it's best to wait and see. If we go down here on the indicators down below, the white J line of the KDJ was at -3, -3. It's still -3 roughly. It's moving mostly sideways with a slight incline, and that's after it flipped upward after the printing the bottom at a -5.7 and flip upward and pretty much turning sideways right now. I gave that a crab. The white MACD line continued to trend down, registering at -3,400 under the red signal line, and then printing the fifth bearish growing histogram bar here. I give that a bear. Down below here we have RSI, which is the red line, the blue CVD, and the white MOM or momentum indicator. They're all trending down slightly with the slope flattening out. The red RSI line was printing at 34. I gave that a bear. The blue CVD line is printing at 3.943 million. I gave that a bear and a crab because there's downward trend, but somewhat crabbing sideways. The white momentum indicator, similar situation, printed -7,106. I gave that a bear and a crab as well. The other interesting thing about what recently happened is this spot to derivative basis delta. Whenever this flips positive and stays positive, we're going to get a rally. Like I've done this chart before. I've dedicated an analysis on this indicator before. Feel free to check that out on my YouTube. But it temporarily, like just a split moment, flipped positive. And I was like, whoa. It flipped positive to the positive side. You can see that by the red mark here. And then I was like, oh, what could this mean? Could that mean it's a bottom? Typically, it's a bottom indicator. And I'll show you back here. Back here, you see that it flipped to the positive side. Look at that. Look at that run up. Here it flipped. Let's go here. You see right here, it flipped to the upside right here. Look what happened. Boom. So it's a really good bottom indicator. And then guess what? Moments later, it flipped back down. It's negative, but not too much though. It's negative 0.00003%. So it's teetering right at that border. So this is something we want to watch out for. If it flips positive and stays positive, watch out for a bull run. But with all the macro environment variables and also the connection to equities, it's tough to say. So overall, I gave this chart a double crab here. It's going to be choppy, just ranging right in that area. And another thing I want to show you is this. This is an 8-hourly chart. And I just basically want to show you one thing on here. And that's where the magnets are. Magnets for volume. So we have a magnet here. I guess it's called, some people, let me find the acronym for it. Oh, what's the acronym for it? Oh, yeah. This line right here, this orange line right here, roughly at around 28.5K. It's a naked point of control. So this is where in this session here, that was where a lot of volume was traded. And you notice here in that session, price has not gone back down yet. So more than likely, it's going to be a point of control, or where price tend to gravitate to. Here's another point of control right here, at roughly 30.4K. That's the new point of control. Here's another one, but this wick down here already took that out. So that became like the day point of control. So because it's cleared out already. Here's another high point of control, roughly around 33K. You see all this range right here, this previously, right here. So you're looking at 33K is a point of control. You're looking at 30.4K as a magnet, and 28.5K roughly. So I want to show you that so you can get an idea of where price may move. It more than likely will range right around here, 29.7K roughly here, 29.7 and 30.4 here. But big moves could touch these points of control here. They're still naked because they haven't been touched yet. I know it's weird acronyms. But let's go back to the weekly chart. So in summary, BTC is likely to range around 28.5K to 30.5K, right in this range right here, with upper wick possibly going to around 32K and a bottom wick down to 26.2K, depending on the macro environments. All right, let's go to the options. Max Pain. If you don't know what options Max Pain are, I won't go through it here. Feel free to check out my Twitter or on my description. We got Max Pain. This is where magnets will price will tend to be gravitate towards. On the 18th, 30K, 19th, 30K, 28th, 32K, 27th, 35K. Notice that it's an upward trend towards Max Pain. Volume. The volume are contracts that have been filled already, and open interest are contracts that are still pending. And we have here you can see that the 20th and the 20th contracts have been filled already. Calls and puts are pretty equal. On the 27th, we have more calls that have contracts have closed. More calls. Calls are options. Contracts that are you have the options to buy, but not the obligation, and puts are options to sell, but not the obligations. So, but here, looking at the open interest, the contracts are still open, because this impacts potential for price to move towards Max Pain. So on the 20th, pretty tiny, but around the 27th, where we have about medium, above medium. Options. So Max Pain could potentially head towards that way. And if you look back here on the 27th, Max Pain is 35K. So it's something to keep in mind. Here's the heat map for Bitcoin right now. We got not a lot of sell walls on top, so I didn't show it. But below we have buy walls here, 28K. I'm just going to go through the major ones. 28, 26, 25. 24 is decent. 22, 20.5K, 20K. So those are buy walls down below, which could signal where people have their limit orders. As far as the cumulative volume delta, showing aggressive market buys in this range here from 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to recent present time. So a lot of market buys here, and you can see that when I snapshot this screen, it's almost maxed out. So, and that's because price dropped to around 29.5K, and then it all the aggressive buys drove it up above 30K. Liquidations levels here. Hypelock Capital did some work on their site, and so it looks better, and I think some of these levels are updated as well. So these only cover 20x to 100x high leverage. Currently we have excess of for the cumulative liquidation levels delta, which means that it's the money or the open interest in the if you take in this case we take all the long levels down here, the money in the long levels, you'd subtract the money in the short levels, and you get the difference. And the difference currently is roughly $403 million more longs. Green means long. So there are more money in longs than there are in shorts right now. So people are longing with high leverage. At this price, counter parties, there is not going to make a difference. Only when it's huge and excessive to the downside or to the upside, shorts or longs. And that's it. I appreciate your time. Feel free to share your feedback in the comment section. And please smash the like, ring my bell, hit subscribe so we can spread the analysis out to others and help them make informed decisions. I will see you in the next video. Peace.